Do you know why you get a sticker when you vote? Because you have to be about as naive as a child to think your vote actually matters. Full disclosure, I've never voted, and I likely won't, unless it's for a third-party candidate. But why? Buckle up, because I'm going full scorched earth on this one. Primarily, I think it's a waste of time. The average time it takes to vote is over 14 minutes. Add to that the travel time to and from the polling location, and you're easily looking at a 45-minute experience. All in all, that wouldn't be a bad investment of time if it weren't for a few other factors. Unless you live in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin, you know which way your state is going. And even if you do live in one of these states, in the last presidential election, there was a difference of 384,000 votes separating the winner and the second place candidate between all of those states combined. Even in Arizona, the closest out of all the states, where it came down to 10,000 votes, that still means, had I voted in the opposite direction of who won, then it would have only been still losing by 9,999 votes. Wow, what a useful investment of my time. And what are you voting for? The pig with the red lipstick or the pig with the blue lipstick? Either way, Congress is still voting unanimously with the military-industrial complex to fund proxy wars and genocides, right? Let me let you in on a little secret. In almost every election since 1974, the United States has essentially just swung back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans. Why? For the same reason we have to choose between an elderly megalomaniac and some DEI selection who somehow managed to fail upward to the largest stage in the world. Because we're so tribal and dug in that we can't be bothered to admit that the candidate that pretends to agree with the one policy we actually care about is incredibly flawed. Instead, we just make believe the other candidate is somehow worse. So this leads to a relatively small group of the smartest people in the United States living in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin to swing back and forth when they're inevitably pissed off at endless broken campaign promises and a continued hollowing out of the middle class, desperately clinging to the hope that trying the other party will actually fix something, while the candidates get worse and worse because they have to dig up more and more morally flexible lizard people to boil us frogs in a cesspool of a pot where name recognition, the color tie they wear, and corporate money matters more than people who actually fulfill their promises. Speaking of money and influence, let's bring that back into the explanation of why I don't choose to vote. Let's do a quick thought exercise here. Do you actually think millionaires and billionaires stand in line to vote? Do you think it's worth it for them to do so? Or do you think they would rather ram ads down our throat for 9 months, pop out a blue or red baby, ready to vote, and go collect their sticker for being a good boy or girl? Let me break it down for you mathematically. If I go out and vote, I waste 45 minutes of my time. And for what? To change the vote difference from 10,000 to 9,999? But if I can spend 45 minutes creating a video persuading people to vote for my candidate and I flip one person to my side, I have a greater impact. As not only did I steal a vote away from the pigs with the blue lipstick and add it to the pigs with the red lipstick, but in that I've made a 2-vote flip. Now, instead of me spending 45 minutes making a video, swap that language to billionaires giving millions of dollars to a political party to absolutely inundate the poor residents of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin with political ads. Same concept, much larger scale. Would I ever vote? Yes, if I thought it mattered. I was actually fairly excited about the prospect of Robert Kennedy running. Not because I like him, but because he was polling at 20%. And, fun fact, in the United States, if you break 5%, your party automatically gets a full spot in the election, meaning participation in debates and ballot access in every state without having to jump through an insane amount of hoops. I think this would be incredibly healthy for both discourse and breaking people out of their us or them mentality, and could also pave the way for other reforms like ranked choice voting so that we aren't all held hostage by the most extreme factions of each party. Also, I will say, although I have similar views on voting in state elections, I do think voting for local propositions is much more useful and meaningful, as usually only informed people are voting on these issues, and these laws typically will impact you in your everyday life. And the problem with mass ad campaigns at that level are typically not present. If I can conclude this video with a useful piece of advice, it's that we can make a difference, but only if we're willing to spurn historically held voting anecdotes, like voting third party is throwing your vote away, or just vote local.